Thank you for staying with us. This is still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Now we look into critical matters affecting us as Nigerians at this time. Recently, several countries, including United States of America, United Arab Emirates, the UK, that's the United Kingdom, and Canada and several other countries have imposed stricter visa restrictions on Nigeria, on Nigerians as part of their immigration crackdown. Many Nigerians are wondering what exactly is going on here. The U.S., for instance, just put forth a new policy saying that they'll be issuing only a 3 month single entry visa to Nigeria, with an end to the 2 year multiple entry visa being issued, saying it's just as a result of reciprocity. That is what the US is claiming. But the federal government of Nigeria has kicked against, saying, where is the reciprocity coming from? And Nigeria is still issuing United States citizens with 5 years multiple entry visas. And that's and many other issues we'll be looking into. The US released a new visa policy reducing non-immigrants and non-diplomatic visa duration for Nigerians to 3 months with single entry permitted. This latest policy is one out of many immigration and visa restrictions introduced so far by the Donald Trump administration. And of course, apart from the US, other countries too have imposed stricter visa restrictions on Nigeria. The UAE, for instance, have imposed new visa restrictions. In fact, it's even worse for Nigerians who intend to travel to the UAE. Nigerians aged between 18 and 45 are no longer allowed tourist visas to the UAE. The question is why? Simply means all young Nigerians can't even travel to Dubai if you're aged between 18 to 45 years. Total restriction on visa applications for everyone in that age range. Then for those who are above 45, there's a new rule saying you must have at least $10,000 or equivalent in Naira as proof of funds. Other countries like Canada too have, imposed stricter restrictions. For you to travel to Canada, you need to have up to 17 million Naira as proof of funds, as balance in your account, as your account balance, monthly account balance, for a period of at least 6 months for you to be eligible to apply for Canadian visa. So many restrictions right there. The Ministry of the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Nigeria have released a statement saying the attention of the federal government of Nigeria has been drawn to the recent decision by the United States government to revise its visa reciprocity schedule for Nigerian citizens, limiting the validity of non-immigrant visas, including B1, B2, F, and J categories, to 3 months with single entry. The federal government views these developments with concern and keen interest, particularly given the the long-standing cordial relationships, and strong people-to-people ties between our two countries. The decision appears misaligned, with the principles of reciprocity, equity, and mutual respect that should guide bilateral relations. That's just part of the statement released by the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Join us on the conversation this morning is Barrister Moses Obaditan, a public affairs analyst and a legal practitioner. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure. Always up. Looking at the recent, visa restrictions being imposed on Nigerians and of course some other African countries, what do you make of it? Could this be as a result of profiling? Okay, could it be racial in nature, or are Nigerians actually posing any real risk to this nation?
Let me start with Nigeria. I will start by saying that us is responsible due to our failure to do the needful. And what are those needful? An ambassadorial representative in foreign land is a must in foreign relations, because the ambassador of a country is the representative of that government. And in fact, when you get to the embassy of your country or of any country, we learn in international relations that even when maybe somebody who has been alleged to have committed crime, once he runs to that place, he has to be allowed to stay until further notice or when he's allowed to get out of place. So it's more like a political immunity. But in our country, in the last 2 years, when this government come on board, ambassadors have been withdrawn. And not only that, when there's a mutual relationship between two countries, you see that relationship, the ambassador there takes home, that's under something you're not going to hear on the pages of newspaper, they will connect to their to the domestic government here and say, okay, this is what the country I'm representing is saying, this is what we are supposed to do. But where there's a misunderstanding or there's about to conflicts to exist between the two, the other country can decide to withdraw his ambassador. And where you withdraw your ambassador, that country take cognizance, knowing fully well that the arms of fellowship is no more there. That is number one. Number two, the stronger a country is economically and politically, make other countries to want to woo it, to be in friendship. But when you become a dependent on your opponent, when I mean opponent, I mean on foreign country, you rely on their aids, your children cannot get jobs, the institutions failures are there, and then the way you run your in the international relation, they look down on you. But where you carry yourself high, I remember between 1970, I think 75 to around 1980, you will know that in international relations, people respect us beyond Africa and any part of the world. In fact, Professor Akeyemi used to be a man who designed what we call concentric circle. Africa first, then other country. And so when you see that relation anywhere we deliver, maybe the government policy, either the UNO, OAU conference, the whole Africa has spoken. But today, the question I'm asking that, when last did you find a policy statement that shook Africa, that unite Africa, that make other Western countries to say, watch that country, befriend them before they take a policy that can be against us? But in a situation where Nigeria isn't eager or trying to sustain itself, economically it's down, and in terms of maybe integrity, it's not there. The rule of law is absent. And then even to conduct elections is becoming a problem, because there have been policy in time past where they said, once this election is conducted, especially US, they said, any politician coming to US, we will not give them visa if this election is not done as this way. It shows you the level of degeneracy. So it's not the Western country that will tell you how to conduct an election. But we know that under free, fair election, where there's a rule of law, there's going to be a respect for you. But where you do things as if there's no law in your country, where you do things that your children are involved in banditry and insecurity. For example, when they are talking about countries that are not secure, we are number 3 in the calendar of the world. I think Iran, Congo, and then Wales. So these are some of the things that make people to respect us as a nation and then begin to give policy. Oh, their children, they have no institution to give them admission. They don't have food to give their children. About 12 point something million. Another 12 times something is going to join the poor ones and the one they cannot feed and many other things. Our economy is down and we are not taking policy that can revive it. We are taking loans that we cannot pay back. These are some of the things that make nations not to be respected. Can they take such policy against South Africa? If you look at the what do I call it? The inflation in Britain is 4%. In Britain, I think 3%. In South Africa, it's 4%. In Nigeria, it's 27%. So it shows to you, when you are talking of economy of South Africa is likely to be better than all. And recently, they gave about 7 countries whose economy are better in Africa. But Nigerians are missing there. So these are some of the things that make people to respect you. If you are able to marshal your economy, you know when your citizens are coming, they are not going to be people who are going to be a liability to their nation. So these are some of those things that when I compounded Nigeria and then say, okay, if anybody is coming to Nigeria, you must have fought in this one. But in time, they wars. That's what we call visa holiday. I remember around 1982, 82, 85, you go on a excursion holiday. They just pay, I think, around 100,000. They won't give, if you want to have 100,000, you can go and come. But even
100,000? It should be less. You're talking about
it's
early
less.
80s. I don't know.
Maybe,
far
in fact,
less.
in 1980, going to
Oh.
London is 300 naira. I think I got the hand. So that's a robust economy. That's the economy that when you look at your balance of trade with US and Nigeria, is you have the advantage. They will not give you such a policy, knowing fully well they need your raw material, they need your men. And you remember this Canada was giving policy. We used to recruit people that they need.
Absolutely, they need more people.
That needs graduate, they need young people to come to Canada.
Even artisans.
Artisans to come to Canada. The same thing in Germany. So why has it turned? It shows that we have not built the people, the institution. Even look at the quality. In recent assessment of higher institution in Nigeria, Afebaola came for, which is among 100 in the world. None of the government universities, including the University of Ibadan, was established around 1940, was mentioned. So it shows that the government has not done well in so many areas. And when your educational policy is meandering or is down, how do you now raise, how do you now prepare? People will now go into other countries as workers, as people that can be employable. Even some of our citizens, some of our leaders will say, Nigerian graduates are not employable. Is it their fault? If you run the institution very well, will it not be employable? So these are some of the challenges we need to look at. We don't know. It's not a matter of tribal. It's a matter of economy. It's a matter of leadership. It's a matter of being able to rise up to meet the challenges in the foreign country. The whole world is facing challenges. But then, in the midst of it, are you aware? 6 million Israelis are supplying wheat and some other foods to America. And yet they live in the desert. How do they do it? They pump water from the ocean to support their. But look at the vast land in Nigeria. We are still importing wheat from Ukraine. We are importing even melon, which is not supposed to be so. Despite all the land that we have in Tampa, we have what they call pyramids, granite pyramid. Cocoa are there. I think Ghana or one other country has taken over that one from us today. So these are the reasons that our leader has to come back home and say, where do we get ourselves? What do we do? How do we do it? So we don't need to beg them. We need to reorganize, particularly the economy. The stronger you are in the economy, the stronger you are in the foreign policy. Remember, there used to be a time we normally even assist some African countries. We send some of our students there to assist them. Do you remember there was a particular two countries, Nigeria paid their salary. Today, our university lecturers have just been paid. So how do you expect them to do research work? How do you not expect them to be among the first 100 in the world? So the challenges is leadership, planning, and being able to be prudent. And remember, country also respect when they know that you do not waste your resources. You are not leaking the common goods. It's not concentrated on a few elites who are there. When Mobutu Sese Seko was in charge, they don't have respect for him because they know he was richer than his country. Today, we have some politicians who are richer than our country. And then most of the things they stole them to Western countries. How would they respect you? So these are the challenges that leaderships need to be, to come together and see how they can solve it so that we can back into where we ought to be. If we are not even go beyond that.
All right, Barrister Obaditan. So you are attributing the weak strength of the Nigerian passport because right now the Nigerian passport is at its weakest, so to speak. So you are attributing the weak strength of the Nigerian passport to poor leadership in Nigeria.
Oh, certainly. The period we are mentioning is that if America, let's look at the period of apartheid. The British were not expecting the South Africa to get independent. The Americans were not. And so Nigeria take policy and said, anything that has to do with British here, we nationalize it. And that's why we have what called British Petroleum was changed to the same thing. A certain bank, I think they call maybe Standard Bank was turned to First Bank. Many other things were done, and the British were at risk. They cannot do anything because we are not depending on them in time of maybe AIDS. But today, they need to give us money to sustain some health sector. We need to get that money to see how our power can be run, or we take loan until them will tell us don't do this, don't do that. In time, they ignore them. It was not only us, it's not only Nigeria that do that. Brazil at a point in time ignored the IMF policy and go on their way, and they were able to pick it up. At a point in time when the hardship was so much in Brazil, they adjust, and their leadership came and turned things around. Can you compare economy in Brazil with us? Can they take the same policy taken against us, against Brazil today? Those are the things. I'm a student of comparative politics. Forget that I'm a lawyer. I studied politics at international level. I'm to master degree level, and I major in foreign policy. So these are the things countries compare, and they think before they take policy against them. But if they know that they depend on you, they rely that if we take this policy, you will counter them by increasing the number of the bag of cocoa you send to them, by ensure that the petroleum you are sending to them will not arrive in time, which will affect their productivity. They will think twice. But today, the crude oil, we cannot get. The OPEC give us 2.2. We are still at 1.6. Even the little that are coming, we cannot deliver at proper time. The money that's coming, where are they? The National Assembly asks questions. How about these trillions? These are the things the nation look at.
Naira.
Trillions are missing. Yeah. Trillions, which NMPs cannot account for. Yesterday, in the newspaper, the EFCC chairman was saying that, look, when you look at what happened in NMPC, it is gargantua in terms of corruption. And that we need to take a policy which we have to do with how did you acquire this property. So, and they are reading it because the whole world is a global village. You can't do that in most of these Western countries. You'll be asked to explain. Joseph Zuma in South Africa was alleged to have using the resources of the state to build up. He made restitution. In Brazil, Lucy at a point in time, their president was jailed because of this thing. How many of our leaders, at a point in time, even the 3 governors were in jail, were released? Some of them are in the National Assembly today. And those are the things they look at and say,
were forgiven.
And at the point in time, they before Buhari, they say, Nigeria is fantastically corrupt. And the man could not have an answer. So, you know, the statement is true. But should we continue?
I think that came from David Cameron.
Yes, David Cameron said it. Said Nigeria is fantastic. And nobody there say it. But you know what? They have the information. Just like our president has information that come on his desk on a daily basis. Even Margaret Thatcher, far back when we were trying to take some policies, said if you make noise, I will open records. So some of Nigerians are keeping this one. Some I even told us at the Arab Emirates that some of these terrorists you are talking about, these are the names of Nigerians who are sponsoring it. And Femi Falana even went to court and said, bring these people under Buhari, bring them to judgment. There's a way, nothing is happening. The Attorney General, Malami, was being accused of receiving some of those things, seized from those people who were accused of corruption, and then reselling. Why do we remove the former EFCC? Because of something like that. And they are reading it.
All right, Barrister Obaditan, let us put things in the right perspective here. Apart from Nigeria, Nigeria has not been the only country affected by this. For instance, Saudi Arabia have stopped issuance of block book visas to countries including Nigeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria. So not only Nigeria was affected. So do you see it as a move against African nations at this time?
I would say no. This Saudi Arabia you are making mention, in the 80s, the king of Saudi Arabia was coming to UCH. What's the condition in UCH today? Do you remember? Even possibility today, they do not have power to carry out their day-to-day exercise. I said the whole world is a global village. The way you carry yourself is the way other people will respect you. So if they say it is because we are black, is Obama not black? Was father not from Kenya? But when they see what the man possessed, when they see what he brought to the table, they look at the Obamacare, they look at some policy he took, they respect him. So it is not a matter of color. It is not because we are Africa. It is because some of the Africans has not been able to rise up to the standard. In a country where you cannot handle your internal challenge, like security. Most of the African countries, from Mali to Chad to other northern African countries, how many of them does not have insecurity issues? And should the Western country allow you to get such a person to come to their country and then detonate bomb? The man who was angry and killed 2 Israelis near their embassy, was he not from Africa? One of the African countries. So these are some of the things they have to consider. So number one, In section 14 sub 2 of Nigerian Constitution, it says, it shall be the duty of every government to see to the security of lives and property. How secure is our property? How secure is our life? Do people not killed on a daily basis? Look at what happened in Benue. Massacre, over 200 people. And yet we are just now picking 16 people. Can 16 people kill such a people like that? Not just once, and it still continue. Can it continue in America? Remember,
are we sure those are the real perpetrators?
We are not sure.
That's another question.
That's why you should your security agent should be up and doing. Because the modern gadget, for example, if I come into this place, I'm sure you must have CCTV so as to know if I'm an intruder. The day they gave the contract, how that Jonathan in Abuja, the thing was brought there like fish, frozen. Do they prove those people did the contract? Lagos is gradually picking up today and putting CCTV in some security area. So if we are able to do it, and if you cannot do it, how about some other things that they could use to monitor the air?
So Barrister Obaditan, you're saying Africans might actually be posing a real risk to this nation.
You are aware that some of those people arrested in Western country are from Africa. Not all of them. You must permit me. But then we are even saying, if you cannot control your domestic violence, you are likely to import if they allow you free entrance into their country. And so they must take policy. Prevention is better than cure. If you remember, the man who caused the 2011 bombing in America came from Pakistan. Some other people who hold a plane at Uganda, 90 minutes, 90 days, are they from America? No, the African people. And the record are still there. And some of them, we know them, they said after the fall of Gaddafi in Libya, they have no place. And some of them migrate to Nigeria, which is the issue we are discussing on Benue Plateau. Don't you have, if you cannot have border, don't you have plane, don't you have aircraft that you can use to monitor? Are there no ways of reaching agreement with other African countries? And say, Chad, we know we cannot be here all the time. We are stationing our soldier here. But are not aware, and as a journalist, that they even came into people, army station, where they were stationed and bombed them, took away their arms. This is an open secret. So if they are watching it like that, they must be able to put it and say, are we sure? So that when this Nigeria are coming, if we make it so difficult for them to come, we'll be able to restrain those of them with the wrong motive, who may be coming here as an agent to destabilize our country. So these are some of those cumulative factors that may be responsible for the policy they are taking. At a point in time, do you know, even despite they said there's free exit among African countries, we were taking some measures against some people when they were coming in the 70s, particularly people who are coming from Chad. That where they have no water, things were, a lot of things went wrong, and they were flooding most of the capital city. You remember that they looked like Fulani in those days. And we had to take some measures so that they did not come. Some were even deported back home. So government has a right in every client to take policy and review their policy from time to time. So once they know that Nigeria are getting it right, and the instability in country is decreasing, then economic hardship is reducing, why not? Okay, who's puppet? Is he from Chad? Was he not from here? You know what he did in America? Anoba from
Oshun. He was arrested
here.
in Dubai.
Yeah, and Oshun from here. Oshun Oba, who was getting during the social allowance. And clear, the man from Ogun State, essay to the governor, went there and claimed some money, which does not belong to them during the COVID. They're looking at this one before taking policy.
All right, but let's take a critical look at a place, a nation like the United Arab Emirates. Now, they have their own visa restriction is even more stringent than the other ones, restricting young Nigerians from the ages of 18 to 45.
Are you aware that
Dubai is a place? Dubai is a place that makes so much money from tourism.
Yes.
So when they restrict young Nigerians from 18 to 45, what message are they trying to send? Before now, it was so easy. It was very easy going to Dubai. I was even talking about it yesterday on the program. I actually took it for granted. When I visited Dubai in 2019, it was so easy. I mean, I didn't have to appear for anything. All I had to do, I actually snapped my passport with my phone and just sent it to them. It was processed, and my visa was sent to my email. I printed it on the same morning I was to take that flight. It was just seamless, so easy. But now, if you're 18 to 45, all of us young people, we can't even, get visas to Dubai. What exactly is going on?
Maybe I should refresh your memory. that in the last 7 years, some Nigerians in Dubai were creating economic problems, either doping them or going to internet, banking something. Some were arrested, some were deported. Are you not aware? At a point in time, even the visa was stopped because some of our youth are becoming nuisance into their society. So it's not just something deliberate. It was open for everybody. Dubai was more of a transit at a point in time. But because once our youth go there, they abuse the privilege. Like I rightly said, from time to time, government take and review policy. When they know a particular section or country are coming to destroy their system, should they open their door? Why? They will not. But can they do the same thing to America? Knowing fully well when they come, they are coming with portfolio for investment. They are there as engineers. So these are some of those things that explain. But in some countries, like in China, if Nigerians do that one, they will execute them. And you are aware in Saudi Arabia, you are even talking. At a point in time, some people go there on freeway who are being executed because they came there with drug. Are you aware that even some of the people, the children of the elite, political elite in Nigeria, has to, they were alleged they met some drug in their custody before they know somebody put it there. So these are some of the things that are left. So don't let us condemn this country. They are simply doing what we fail to do. This country was not like this before. When I was a young boy, Tinubu Square, I have passed through the place by 10 p.m., 12 midnight on December, maybe 25 or something that way. But today you can't do that. Why? I once removed money in my pocket when I was trying to enter bus in Oshodi. So do we allow such a person to be taken to Arab Emirates? Should they be allowed to go there? Are you aware that the man was backing the bandit here, who was saying Boko Haram is not a problem, the Nigerian government is a problem, was deported from Saudi Arabia during this freeway? That's Yerima. The man was sent back here.
The sheikh.
A sheikh.
Absolutely.
So these are some. So should they allow evil to happen? Prevention is better than cure. It is we who's supposed to do what we're supposed to do. And what is reorientation? Let me give you an example. Years back, in this country near Mexico. In fact, when you miss Mexico, you are talking of drugs. But a leader came and said, look, there are going to be 3 policies we are going to take to revive this country. Number 1, if it's a form of propaganda. Remember your father's name. Remember you too and our country. For all these things you are doing. Remember somebody used to underground to America with drugs. So these are the policies. Eventually, Mexicans begin to change. So we can as well come and say, look, we need a change. We can't allow you to leave Nigeria and spoil our name. Let me leave that one and come to Ghana. At a point in time, the Ghanaians were here as prostitutes in the streets. Their boys were hewers of woods and fetchers of water in our land. But when Johnny Lonely came on board, 4 of Nigerian Ghanaian head of state were put at stake after having been found them guilty. And then the man lived prudence, honesty, and accountability. And the story of the Ghanaian changed today. Some of you cannot send your money to America, sending your children to Ghana. Some of our traders are going there, and some are being deported home. So there must be a national revival. So it is not difficult, not too late for Nigerian leader to come and say, okay, and when you are going to do that, they must start from you. You have to do restitution and say, look, I was once like this. I give this back to the state. And I think in Tanzania, some years back, a man said, look, now that I'm now head of state, anybody who has stolen from our country, return it before we take. And the record having that over 450 billion was returned to Tanzania. People are not making reference to Tanzania. There must be a national revival. There must be a turnaround so that even the outside world will know, it's not the same Nigeria. So that when you hold your green passport, they have respect for it. But today, as soon as Pastor Adeboye said one day he was at the point of entry in America, and they said, please move it. He said, we are aware. Yes, Pastor Adeboye. And I said, you say your pastor, which person did you preach today? And they're asking questions.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing because they knew that the story, many people have passed through that place and said they are this, and then they get in and do something. So that is an intentional man. So the reason we are system is that there's a need for us to call things. But in a situation where we have educate, and then we only ask him how to go and sit down. In a situation where we have a Fabio, having one challenge or the other from the state, from AFCC, the one NDC is becoming the Senate president. And then the women cannot speak in there. Don't you know they watch you from the other? I told you it's a global village. They are watching us as we are talking like that. So there must be, a shedding of weight so that people can know Nigeria is turning a new leaf. It is when you do, they will not respect you. But we expect you to respect you. You are the one coming to borrow money from us. Your children are coming to loot our treasury. Your women are in the street. Go to Italy. Who are those people in the street of Italy? Nigerians, ladies, prostitutes. And I was aware when I was in Unibank. My lecturer told me, say it's here in Benin, people sell their house and send their daughter to go and do prostitute in Italy. So these are, yes, my lecturer.
On a lighter note, they call it a form of scholarship.
God bless you. I thought maybe you want to say I'm lying.
No.
So these are not supposed to be like that. And what brings about it? Hardship, poverty. There must be a policy. Are you aware? From my primary to secondary school, I did not pay money. Because as at the time I was in school, primary school was free. And some level that was free in secondary school too. Ask one state, despite the hardship in the land, how many of them have free education policy, even for primary school? And yet they are building bridges. They are having skyscrapers. And Professor Klodake said, and Bade Onimode, these are economics and political economics, and said, building skyscraper is not a sign of development until you develop the people. So the people we fail to develop are the ones who have now become thorns in the eyes of that international body. So we must be able to have a policy for our children. How do we raise them up? What should they become? Are you aware that the association of Yahoo boys and their parents who have association? So when did that one start? Should we continue like that? Is there no way they can use their brain for positivity? So these are some of the things they know and say, look, Nigerians forget them.
All right. Barrister Obaditan, these visa restrictions at this time, do you see this moment marking a turning point for the Nigerian government? I mean, driving towards regional integration and making smarter diplomatic negotiations?
It depends on the ability of the leadership to be able to realize that we miss it. But here, you will see Nigerians still arguing. You cannot put that one with us. The first thing is for the executive to meet, the National Assembly to meet and say, why? Are you aware, sir? Between 1980 and 85, you go to Britain without visa. I'm telling you the truth.
Between 1980 and 85?
Yes.
Yes, one of my lecturers actually said it. That then as a student, that all they have to do was indicate interest. And they would just be, it was almost free, totally free.
So it was become when things are getting to the level that everybody was suspecting us that we either this or that. We cannot look at Charowiwa. The man had just been tried. He was to go to court of appeal and was executed. And the whole country suspended us, especially Western country. So if our country are able to realize that at this point in time we miss it, they should be able to look back into history, because he who failed to learn from history will repeat it. So how do we do it as at the time they have respect for us? What is the level of our economic value? What are those things that leaders were doing? If you look at leaders we met, do you know when Aminu Kano died? He was left with a radio and 3 naira. Aminu Kano. When Okpara died, the man who industrialized the East, he has no building of his own. Are you aware when Baba Ajasin died, he has just one house? These are the Adekunle Ajasin. These are people who know what coming to government doesn't come into enrichment. They are people who sit down and say, okay, how do we develop the children of nobody to become somebody? What are the policies we can have so that those farmers can eventually smile? And then they have what they call cooperative farming. They bulldoze the vast land, they give them siblings and put lights in some of the developed area, and people go into commercial farming. If you look back into history, you will see these are the reasons people are not going. People like us, even till when I graduated in 85, they asked us to come and say, what am I going to do there? People are making Nigeria with me, I'll make it here. So that's not to say I have not traveled, but they don't want me to come and say, I said, no, we want to stay here. But do people want to stay here when the opportunities are not there? Those who are there are not improving it, and yet they want to be there. Are you aware? Go to any state capital, including Osogbo here. You will see buildings, structures. Nobody is living there.
Absolutely.
If you try that in Western country, you'll be taxed. And that's what the EFCC man say. Let's begin to ask people, how do they get the
Unexplained
resources?
wealth.
Where do explain wealth?
Mm.
So if our leader are able to come to that level and say, look, we need a change, we want respect. If we are going to give succor to the children who are going to be the future leader, we must do something for them. Putting them to jail will not solve the problem. You must give them education. So these are the things. When Africa was developing, one of those things that matter in Africa is education. You see, give education to all. And people are you aware that people were trekking from Nigeria to some African country here, which Yoruba call Saro, that's Sierra Leone. They walk there to go to higher institution because they know what education. Are you aware that Zeke has to elope in a boat to get to Britain or in a ship? Because they know what education means. So today, the generation after, they've gotten the education, they got scholarship. Some of them said they never wear shoes when they were young. Some said they were security when they were there. Now what do you do?
All right.
Children of nobody to become somebody.
But
there must be a change in policy. They are going to be human or humane, and then we'll be able to turn things around.
Barrister Obaditan, let's even look at the root causes of this Japa syndrome. Japa has become very popular, a term used for Nigerians leaving the country for other nations for greener pastures. So Japa syndrome has become very popular in Nigeria. Let's look at the root causes. Why are Nigerians even leaving Nigeria? Someone once said that if you truly want to test whether Nigerians really love Nigeria, just give them automatic visas to countries in Europe and give them free transportation, free flights and everything, and see how many people will be left in Nigeria. The question is, what is the root cause? Why are Nigerians leaving Nigeria? If you look at all those who have made impact in Nigeria, they are people who stayed back to fight for Nigeria. Look at the big names, our leaders, even the businessmen, the likes of Dangote. These are people who stayed back. Look at our great leaders, the Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, all of them. These are people who did not japa, they did not leave Nigeria. So why are Nigerians, especially the young ones, in a hurry to abandon Nigeria? What is the root cause?
Well, you use the word in a hurry. They are not in a hurry. When you are in your father's house and you find it difficult that to have 2 square, I didn't say 3 square, 2 square meals a day is difficult. You stay at your father's house. If you are in your village, you find it difficult to even secure teaching job, and you had an opportunity in Ghana. If you go there, is it an offense? The problem is that the state has failed. And the reason is because of lack of planning. I'm going to give you the reason. In 1979, the Chinese discovered they were the most populous, about 1.3 billion or 4 billion there. And then they took a policy. From now onward, nobody should have more than a child. And if you are going to have it, you must give reason. If you obey, you are rewarded. If you disobey, you are sanctioned. The same period, coming to late 70, Nigeria now took policy, don't have more than 4 children. And then those are leaders who said you should not have more than 4 children. They say you can have more than 1 wife. If I have 4 wives, 4 times 4 is 16. And then they begin to multiply children. And even when the Emma of Kano, former central bank governor, came, he said in the north, before they are 20 years of age, they have gotten wives. Before they are of this age, they have having 20. In fact, a National Assembly member, House of Rep, came. He said, see my 4 wives.
Yeah, he came to brag with his wives.
He welcome to brag. So when you have a country that does not plan, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. So we fail to plan on our population. The population was growing at geometrical dimension. The economy was growing at arithmetic dimension. So economy could not match up with the population. So we now have population explosion. Graduates are being produced, no employment opportunity. The government are not planning. How do we now put this on? In fact, at the point in time, they said there must be an entrepreneur in the university program. Then the entrepreneur you prepare for, there's no money to back them up by the time they graduate.
Even the entrepreneurship courses are more theoretical these days.
So these are the genesis. So you have given me the privilege, some parents sold their property to get their children to school. Now they now graduate. Baba is old, Mama is old. The child doesn't get a job. And then he had, Mama, Esther will be taking you to Italy for a job. Either the job is good or God, willing or job. Then somebody told you that in Tanzania, there's a company there. Once you get there, you are going to be engaged. And some of them do not even have. They know they will migrate. They will travel, and eventually, in Morocco, they perish in the sea. So it's not that somebody just want to run away from his father's house. But when your father is old, could not assist you, he has done his best, you have been educated, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, no job, and government are not thinking about it. And I remember Obasanjo once said, he said, we are sleeping on a keg of gunpowder. That we don't do anything about these youths, unemployment, and the population, that Nigeria will be in trouble. And today, look at the terrorists. Most of these terrorists, some of them are graduates. There was a time I handled a case of a man taking away the child and maltreating the pregnant one. By the time I filed case, the man came to meet me in a radio station where I was doing it. And he was speaking. I said, tell me about yours. I let you account. I said, no, I read accounting. It's when I didn't get a job that I take into Okada. Some people cannot do it that way. Some will take to crime. So these are the reasons why people japa. Because the government has failed to, government cannot employ everybody. There must be able to provide the opportunity, the environment. Even the Zik we are talking about, they have what they call cooperative farming, cooperative this, loan for this, apprentice, how they train you. Even into the late 80s, there's what we call NDE, Nigerian something to employment. So that when you graduate, you go there, they train you on this
Directorate of Employment.
Directorate of Employment, and then you go and bring your policy or whatever you play to the bank, and they give you loan. Those are this work. Look at the little money they are even giving scholarship to those students who are going there, and the university are now, alleging they didn't give it to the appropriate person. So these are some of the things, and a couple with corruption. The little, I don't even call it resource. The resources available to this country.
Not little. Not little.
It's not little. Some African countries, if they do it, they will become a vibrant. When Ghana got oil, they said we pray will not be a disaster, a force as it is on Nigeria. Maybe did you hear that? They made it. Okay, so the oil we got, the money that are coming, we cannot account how much oil we're selling. We cannot tell the one we are distributing, the one we're importing, and then just making some few rich. You are mentioning Dangote, you are mentioning who did not japa. Do you know their background? They came at a point when people like Dan Tata, he said, gave him a loan.
Yeah.
Brothers are no longer brothers. Sisters are no longer helping sisters. The rich are not remember the poor. So if you look around in time past, people like Yobola will give scholarship, will give assistance. If you go to ITT in Yaba and say, okay, I have a friend who was attending OAU. He has no money. And then they just give me a note and he collects something. People are not doing that. People want to have building in Abuja. They want to have in Mexico and that kind of thing. So these are the things that made people who felt they have not come down to Japa. So if we are able to come back and say, if you cannot explain your wealth, you forfeit to the state. And then we use this same to rebuild these children, these youths, and then see how they can do something. Look at it. Do you know in India, at a point in time, most of the used vehicles were refabricated and then begin to, having a car they manufacture. Do you know, as at 70s, we have manufacturing companies who are manufacturing cars and lorries. We have in Ibadan. We have Usajin in Lagos. We have Peugeot in Kaduna. Where are they today? Our people will sit there, do it with anything, and then they prefer imported one. Knowing fully well the S duty or whatever things done, they are going to buy. So these are the reasons. We mismanage the resources, we mismanage the privileges, and then we just feel it's me and my family.
All right, Barrister Obaditan, we are running out of time. I really wish we had more time to talk about this.
There will always be another time.
Some critics have said, well, looking at the situation now, what do you think will be the ripple effect of these visa restrictions? I mean, some observers have said it might actually be good for Nigeria, for us to be introspective, for us to look inwards and see how we can make ourselves better as a people, as a nation. What do you see as the ripple effect of these visa restrictions? It means more people won't be able to travel as usual. So how do you see it affecting the economy? Some are saying that, some are arguing that it might actually improve the economy, that people will stay instead of spending that money to travel, they will invest it in the economy, and it might actually look good for Nigeria. What do you say to that? What do you see as a possible ripple effects of these visa restrictions?
Those who are thinking to bring in more investment, those are the positivity. Those who think, well, Nigeria have a way of doing that. That we pray should be so. But the problem is, for every shut door, there will be another one. There were countries in Tampa, like Botswana. At the point in time, I was almost going to Botswana because Professor Ogunsonwo was my lecturer at the master level at University of Lagos. And then he was ambassador in Botswana. And I said, he sent me newspapers. I'm watching that are there. Very small country. But today, the economy is far better than Ghana. So people may decide to go to those countries if we are not going to overflow. The only problem is just our character. Look at South Africa, because we help them to achieve independence, to attain the independence. Nigerians flood the place, and eventually they were accusing us either looting or marrying their women or doing funny other things. So if we're able to learn, and that will be from leadership, the ability of leader to say, okay, I'm not going to preside over a country that's going to go dismantle, distress, and so say, let's sit down. Now that they ban out from this place, what are the things we can do so that it could serve as a stimulus to these people to invest? But the problem is, do you know how much interest you're going to pay when you go to borrow money in Nigerian bank? I think it's about 27.4%. So what is the interest? How do you go? In Tampa, there was called holiday. When you start an investment, you give it a sort of freedom so that you do not pay tax. Now this government is
like a moratorium.
Moratorium. So they have to suspend such a thing. Then import duties. Those things should be properly monitored so that the money meant for government does not go to individual pockets. At the point in time, they were giving this one to people. They said they help us be collecting on behalf of Nigeria, and they make money out of it. I won't mention it. So these are the. So if government is able to sit down, for every challenge there must be a solution. But then you need leaders who can think, and leaders who think are the leaders that read. But when you have leader who does not read, they are always in jamboree.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. You see, before you pause me, Shehu Shagari was one of the most traveled presidents. And I remember one professor in University of Lagos. He was a critic. He said that was that type of period when he came. He said, Shehu Shagari. He says the most traveled president in the world. And said when a president travels, he won't have time of concentration, of planning, of reviewing his job. So in the last 2 years, some people may say anything about it. Our president has traveled for 19 times. When last did Donald Trump travel? But you see him taking this class, taking this against China, taking this against Africa, because he knows that why he was elected. So our president should be able to sit down, look at those challenges, call experts, rub mind, no tree make a forest. When they say Obama cannot do it, Bill Clinton said, he said, you want to be president? And the man, eventually when he saw it, he apologized. Because the man Obama did not rely on himself. He called experts and they discussed. I have a lawyer who's a friend likely to be watching on. He said something's wrong with Bachman. I said nothing's wrong with Bachman. With what Obama did, nothing is wrong. And after Obama, we have seen many other Nigerians who are even advisors to Donald Trump. So if our president can sit down, listen to advice, and then take concrete action timeously, and then review policy that affect the economy as well as the security. But no, remember, you can go to any country. Nobody will come and invest in a country that is not stable. Because they will hear one white man was kidnapped, the other one was killed. Will they come with portfolio?
All right, Barrister Obaditan, we really have to go. But just before we go, very quickly, what can we do at this point in time as Nigerians in the short run to regain our pride as a nation, to strengthen our passport such that one will be proud to be holding a green passport as a Nigerian?
One, the government needs to review its policy with other countries, especially those who appear unfriendly, who are taking this stand. They try to, you woo. In international body, you try to play. It's a game. Because policy is not just on paper. You have to go there. And that's why they need ambassador with speed. Send ambassador there. Let them say that Nigeria has changed. This is our new policy. This is how we go about it. By the time they see, they will smile. They are human beings too. But in a situation where you don't have anything, they say they don't have regard for us. We don't have any, they are not represented here. So That's number one. Number two, you review your economic policy. What are those indices that make economy to be hard? Why is it that some countries or some companies are leaving your country? Power. Egypt and South Africa, they are generating power they cannot finish.
Absolutely.
Over. And if you look at their production, it's not comparable to this. I'm sure quite often you are on diesel here. So power, they have to work on it. So before investor, and then thirdly, security. And it's one of the duties of government. It's not your duty. Yeah, it's a collective duty, but it's government that take policy on it. You don't sit down and say, let the army go and crush them. No. One of those things responsible for poverty, you have to find out, which is poverty and hardship. Because the president, the first president of India, Nehru Gandhi, he said poverty and hardship is the mother of crime. If you're able to conquer poverty, crime will be reduced. Look at Denmark. Look at some European country with the economy doing well. How many people are in the prison? In fact, we are talking Netherlands. Nobody's in the prison. That if I got it right, one of the countries there. So it's not the number of people you keep in prison and keep shoot them down. No. Let's find out. What are those things that leads to crime? Do we have enough? Should we give them? Should we make provision available? Look at people in the IDB camp. What hope for them? Mali, a young man, he's building houses, not for sale. So those who have no home, there are many Nigerians who are sleeping under bridges in all the state capitals. And then we are asking,
we have empty houses as well.
We are asking people to go and rest. And yet we have empty houses. Any empty houses, let government take over.
Thank you.
Give it to those who have no home.
Thank you so
That's
much.
how to redistribute wealth.
Barrister Moses Obaditan, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for your time and your take.
I appreciate you for giving me the privilege.
Yeah, and of course for your insightful input, powerful input to the conversation this morning. We really appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great.
And to our viewers, thank you for staying with us all through the week. It's been a pleasure having you. Also a pleasure to be here as your host on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. We're going to end the show this morning with a tribute to Mrs. Bukola Adefila, one of us, an integral part of our team who passed away on the 7th of July. She will be laid to rest, today. May her soul rest in peace. Join us again next week for fresh editions of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Emeka Daniel is my name. Do have a wonderful weekend.